because, yeah, I don't want to overstep my bounds, and I don't want to have to go in. And if you do, you could just basically take a chunk of this that is at whatever, and, you know, like 0 decibels, control pace. But I try to make sure that I'm never actually touching this. It's just maybe during the final mix when everything is set, I might adjust those a little bit here and there. You usually do, but, you know, for the most part, I don't touch those till the very end. And that's why, is because those are the best for just making slight adjustments once everything else is perfect. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now we're going to add this one. For this, I want movement in the second part. Maybe something wobbly whoosh, build up arsenal. Sure, why not? All right. So something slightly interesting there, you know, just some movement, some scratchy type stuff. It's nothing too special, but, you know, we're not making a masterpiece here. We are just showing how to mix down, and, you know, maybe giving a little insight, maybe some little tips on how to not be stuck on stupid when you're doing loops or something. So all right, so let's go over here to the last part. And I want this to be kind of squishy, is my guess here. So let's see what I have that's on squish. Let's see. Yeah, I like some of this stuff. So maybe this one. There we go. Okay. So that's sounding fairly decent. Now I'm just going to go over here and I'm just going to do something really quick for the drums. So I'm adding a MIDI clip. I just did that by hitting Control Shift M. And then, yeah, I don't want anything too dramatic. Let's see. that should work. And then D, duplicate it and do that. And take both of these, duplicate it, Control J, take it, duplicate it again. Oh, let's Control Z. I meant to highlight both of these, Control J, and then I can just Control D, and then we're just going to cut off part of this. And yeah. That way it gives it kind of a drop back in. So anyway, so now we're going to do something that, oh yeah, first let's finish this. Blah 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 blah, because Control Shift M, and I'm just gonna go ahead, add one there, and add one there, and then same thing down here. I'm just gonna Control Shift M, except for this one. Go there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and there, and except I'm going to take this in about that far, and snap this right there, bring this in like this, da-da-da. Okay. Oh. So highlight these, and then I'm just hitting Control D to fill in the area, and then bloop. And then I'm going to take these, and I'm going to Control J them. And there. So now, now we're going to get into the, let's see, so how long did it take me? Oh, that's not bad. See, 36 minutes. And I mean, that's a damn good start on a groove right there. You know what? I can almost finish this song in my head. Not really. Well, actually, yeah, really. But, you know, we're not going to get to that. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to hit Control and on that. And that's going to undo all of them at once. So I don't have to go through clicking them. And then just to listen how it sounds. And that's... Okay, so we are going to change the bottom note on this one. Gosh darn it. Okay, so what is the bottom note on this? Bottom note on this is F. But let's see. A, we'll go in G sharp maybe. Let's see, what is the note on this one? F. So, for this, we're going to drop our sub down. Maybe we're going to bring our sub up. Okay, that works. That works. That is fully functional in my book for now. We're not looking for perfection. We are looking to get this done quickly. Now, from here on, I'm going to go ahead and add another channel at the bottom, just because that way I can very easily mute everything, because there is no reason for me to be listening to this at this point. Okay, we're in the mixing process now. The mixing process, you could use your ears, but if you know what you're doing, there's not a lot of reason to do that. You know, plus if you have to listen to every crappy band you ever produced, you would go absolutely insane, I'm sure. I didn't say that out loud. I've never produced a crappy band. Definitely not a crappy death metal band. Definitely not several crappy death metal bands and a couple crappy reggae bands. But, you know, we're not going into that. How I know you're fucking talking about me, you bastard. Okay. So, before I get lost, I want to talk about basic formulas. Now, what you're going to want to do, no matter what, I don't care who you are, what you are, why you are, whatever, fucking gate everything. Just gate, 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 gate. Woo, okay. So, go through, make sure everything is popping off. We're basically just shaving all the sounds here. So in this case, I think I'm going to want to go a little higher. I want to add some dynamics on this one. And that's just because it's the extra drum, whatever. And I went by default, this is on 40, and these are, I forget what these are set at, but, oh gosh, yes, I'm OCD. But these down here, the tack hold release are the same. I just shut the floor off because I don't really want the floor there because I'm trying to increase dynamics because that's where I'm going to get my loudness. Okay, so after all that is done, now we are going to, this is pretty much anytime you're doing the formulas, like, and I'm saying formula because that's really what it is. The formula is basically filter into dynamics into gain. And there's multiple ways of doing this. You can also filter and basically broad sweep into a compressor, into a sharper EQ is also a great way to get your sound to bumping. That's it's a little more, little further advanced. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not getting into any compression. In fact, we're not even going to use any compressors on this because except on the final bus. And I will explain why, because there's no need to. That is why. No, just kidding. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is, since we're going through this, I'm going to go ahead and shave some of this off too. So, that's going to help. It's going to help in the long run. Okay, so another thing I'm going to need here is, now we are going to talk about limiting. Now, when I say you want to clip every channel, you literally want to clip every channel. But you don't necessarily want to be clipping your audio. You just want to be clipping the audio on the channel, and it's controlled clipping is what it is. But before we even do that, we need to be EQing it because, like I said, it is filter dynamic. And it's even set up that way. I love the Ableton did this because basically filters and dynamics. So you're always going to have a filter before a dynamic, and a lot of times you'll have a filter after dynamic. And the drive and color, like the aught or the G clip. G clip is a good clipper too. That's but you only use the G clip like right before you clip. Anyway, I'll show you that. Okay, so getting into this, what am I talking about? Why am I talking about this? Because I'm literally going to go in here and I am going to drop this, what the rule of 300, which means everything is basically, if it is not a sub or bass, which this is a bass, but I'm using a sub. So therefore, I am going to clip all of these or cut all these at 300. I'm also going to do that to my added drums. Now, another thing I'm going to do to my added drums, because this is basically my, at this point, has become my top layer. I'm going to draw these back to 4200. And then I'm going to up this by 4 dB. And I'm just using a shelf. Now, whenever you're using shelves, you're basically only going to want to be going between 4 dB and -6 dB. You kind of don't want to adjust the Q very much. At tops, I mean, I might use a 3. So, and that's probably a little tight for this. So I'm probably just gonna go with a 1 here, actually. A little higher than it was. I don't even know what it sounds like, but that's bull because I know exactly what it sounds like because I've done this 1,000 times. So same on here. We're gonna come in and we're gonna drop this on here, and we're gonna go ahead and clip the top a little here. Because we don't necessarily want this interfering with the rest of our track. This is just kind of background stuff. Okay. And in fact, this predator looks like I need to bring it up an octave. So that's the other thing about this. I see this, I'm cutting off way too much. I need to be filling in some of the other ranges. So I'm just going to go in here to MIDI effect. And see, I wouldn't necessarily have heard this. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I could definitely see that it's not functioning. So I'm going to go with 12 here, see where that puts me. Okay, so let's just do 24. And there. That should be good. I'm going to go ahead, cut the high ends on this too, because there's no reason for them. And they're going to get, it's going to get annoying if I don't. So there's that. And then what am I doing with these? These are my kicks and snares. So those are going to stay right where they are. But my hi-hat is, of course, going to get the rule of 300 kicked on it. So I am just going to drop that here. Pow. Wow, that was so much work. Whew. Man. So there's go. I've completely EQ'd everything. And, where are we at on time here? 46 minutes. Good, because, I want to have this done in an hour. So in the next 15 minutes, we will be done. All right, so wrapping this up, then we're going to want to go and we're just going to use dynamics. Now, my thing is you got to know what your ceiling is. If you don't know what your ceiling is, then 0 decibels FS is actually plus 18 decibels. 0 decibels is actually negative 18 decibels FS. So since Ableton is DBFS, that's what we're doing. The biggest concern here is my sub needs to be at negative 18, and there needs to be a 6 decibel difference between my sub and my kick. So that's pretty much perfect on the kick, and my sub needs to be obviously dialed back. We don't want that much of clipping, but having 2 or 3 dB clipping on is fine. It's obviously clipping in the massive too, but either way, that's fine. So that's just, we're just carrot topping that. And then for these, since we're cutting the bottoms off like that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to cut these at 15K or 15 decibels. And that's going to be my mid-range there. So that's like, you know what I'm saying? That it's going to be a little louder than some of the stuff I add, not quite as loud as other stuff I add. And then these down here, I'm doing at negative 18. Having that 3 decibel difference is very important. The other thing you're going to want to, you should probably realize, I have negative 24. Normally I would have sweeps and stuff, but I'm not really going to go into that. That's kind of just production stuff that, I mean, you'll use sweeps if it's in the genre you need. If it's not, you won't. So I'm also doing the snare at 12, and I'm going to go ahead do the hi-hats at negative 18. So that's pretty much dead on the hi-hats. That's good on the snares, and that's good on the kicks. Okay, so this is that this I can dial up a little bit. Okay, that's good on that. And this I need to dial back a little bit. So there we go. All right, and what about these? Am I doing anything on these? Oh, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and negative 15 on these. And I'm going to have to way dial that back. That was really loud. Holy crap. Okay, so now that I've done all of that, I am going to want to set up my compression, quote unquote, because I don't necessarily compress. I'm going to hit Control G to group those 3. And then on this one, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to add a utility on this. I'm going to add a utility on this. And then I'm going to come down here on these 2. I am going to group them. And then I'm going to add a utility on this. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to go over here to my kick and my snare, and I'm going to group those, and I am going to add on a modulator. Now, I have my personal ducker, and that's basically just 50 and 100, or 50 and 0. And what that's going to do is I'm just going to, let's see, we'll solo here. Okay, so that's pretty good on that. And I am going to just go to this mode right here. I'm going to map this to this, and then I am going to map this to this one. So now okay. Now, on this one, I'm actually going to do this one a little bit differently. Just to show you, there's options here. You don't have to necessarily go by the book, or, you can do your own thing. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and take a, I'm just going to go regular envelope follower on this one. And we'll go ahead and make this 6, 8. Okay, so that's nice and nifty. We're going to go here from 30 to 50, and this is going to 60. Yeah, whatever. No, I definitely want to do 50 on this one. 50. Okay, so basically this is just going to kind of emphasize those, but then I don't want it overriding anything else either. So in order to keep that down, I am actually going to add another utility here. So on this one. So first thing I'm going to do is map the first one. So I'm going to map this to here. Okay. -14. Okay. And yeah, but oh, what have we done? I just realized, I just did all this. And let's see, I didn't add the second one here. I need to add this because let's just go ahead and Doity Doy, Dirty Dir and Doity Doy. They're friends of mine. Alright, so we're gonna map that to this second one. no, what have we done? We totally forgot. I didn't render these. Now what am I now? Oh, and I've already EQ'd them. See, what do I do now? Well, I don't want to get rid of the EQ. I don't want to mess anything up. So what I'm going to do here is very simple. I'm just going to click on these and I'm going to hit Control G, and I'm going to group each one of them separately. So that way I can just go, okay, so take everything from here to here, and I'm going to move that up here. And then I'm going to do the same thing from here to here, and I'm going to move them all up here, and yada yada. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and finish this, but and then I will also yes, as soon as I figure out how to pause, I will pause it. And okay, I am back. So yeah, I went ahead, froze everything. Now I'm just, going through flattening it. Got rid of some of the tails on things. But essentially that's pretty much the main process there. And this is how you keep your audio files perfect. That one there, that was probably was a little hot, but it gets turned down. Everything is everything was pretty much already set because we have that's what the groups were set in. So now if we go ahead and hit play, okay, so coming into the final thing here, on my final channel, I am going to go from a utility with the bass mono into a G clip. So pull that up, and I'm just gonna, for the meantime, I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna go ahead and do my oversampling in this. I'm gonna bring this to perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play here, and I am going to dial this up. So that's just basically clipping off the very tips, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. Now when I go into Ozone, now make sure if you've done this right, then you are in 48K. Whenever you're doing your mix down and your freezing, you're going to want to make sure you're in 44 or 48K, not 44, because part of the whole finalizing process means you're starting at a higher sample rate, and then you're going to be rendering at a lower sample rate by dithering it. And what that's going to do is basically super sample your audio. So it's going to give you a nice, clean, pristine sound, and it's going to make it thick. It's going to make it mixable. And it's, gonna make sure that your music is nice, loud, and thumping on a system. So first I'm going to go over my few little edits here. This is, I cut everything at 16K. You don't have to do that, but the way I see it is I'm letting my dithering do the work here. So, I'm using a heavy amount of dithering, strong, and it's when it comes down to it, it's going to be based on the audio that's there. So, let it do its job. Outside of that, I've got a little tiny bit of a dip up here. This just kind of, things tend to get a little hairy around there. Everything else I'm actually fixing in my vintage EQ. So starting with the mid, I have my setting at 45 and about a 2.5 boost. My high boost is at 5K, which if you notice, my other boosts are about 4K. So it's it gives it a little higher ring. I don't really have any cutoff on this, but I am using a fairly sharp Q. So my high boost is it's subtle here, but it's there. And then same across the bottom, low mid 200 is where I'm boosting it. That way I'm basically boosting the lowest part of the sub that is going to really have that oomph, and I'm only boosting things that are really, it's the sub, it's the kick, and it's the snare. So I'm giving the sub, the kick, and the snare that extra just oomph. Nothing else is affected by that.